It is Monday, December 8th. I am Spencer Linton alongside a man who is ready for some more football, Blaine Fowler.
Oh, let's just keep playing year-round. No, we do need a rest after the Bulls and after college football. I take that back. We need a rest.
BYU will have another opportunity, Blaine, to take on Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl announced yesterday. So, the People's National Championship, or what the Bowl folks in Orlando are calling this. How do you feel about it?
I feel really good about it. Georgia Tech is a quality football team that was ranked in the top 10 for a lot of the season. Quarterback got banged up for a couple of games and probably cost them a college football playoff opportunity. But they played really well against Georgia recently. They're a scary football team with a great quarterback.
Much more on that in just a little bit. In the Pop-Tarts Bowl press conference yesterday, BYU football head coach Kalani Sitake was asked the brain buster question as follows: what's your favorite flavor of Pop-Tart?
I haven't met a Pop-Tart flavor I didn't like. But I will say this, I'm pretty easy. Strawberry is always the one to go to because I think that's the one everybody tried first. I like the strawberry. I do like wild berry. I'm not against brown sugar and cinnamon. Let me see, what else can I name? Cherry's good too. The cookies and cream's a good one too. So I don't know. I love them all.
Listen, we're rocking with Kalani this morning when it comes to Pop-Tarts. And we even brought out the toaster. Blaine.
Oh, yes.
Bon appetit, my friend.
Cheers.
Frosted strawberry for the win. Nice and warm. All right, now, let's get to what's trending.
I'm happy with the way we started the game. You know, we started it tough. We went 90 yards, 15 plays, and we scored a touchdown.
But you got to play clean football to beat those guys. Quite frankly, we got embarrassed out there.
What sucks to be right here watching confetti fall on another team. I envision this being a great matchup for years to come.
This is only the beginning for BYU football. We'll be there next year.
Cleared the set. A Pop-Tart toast to all of you as well. Holy cow, what a weekend around BYU football and all of college football. Do you think anything exciting happened since Friday's show? What a week in general. Blaine, I'm exhausted.
And my goodness, could there be any more controversy about this college football playoff thing? It just went, everything that could have happened to create chaos did happen on the weekend, and now nobody thinks they got it right. Well, there's probably 12 teams that think they got it right. But there's a lot of people on the outside that think this thing was dramatically wrong. And you know what? When we have chaos like this, which a lot of us, I was rooting for, then things change moving forward. So let's hope for some change in how they do things because of the chaos.
Let's run it down, shall we? Number 11, BYU loses to fourth-ranked Texas Tech 34-7 in the Big 12 championship game. Wild. It was a 6-point game with 3:45 to play in the third quarter. BYU had the ball, mind you, and then it just snowballed from there. So BYU misses out on the college football playoff, no trophy. They get number 22 Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl later this month. But let's start with the Big 12 championship game. After the contest, I spoke with BYU players about falling short in that Big 12 championship game.
Late in that third quarter, working into the fourth quarter, it just kind of started getting away from us a little bit. I mean, coming out of halftime, we're down 6 points in a great spot. We knew we were getting the ball.
Obviously, they got a lot of momentum going. You know, I wouldn't say we ever backed down. They just were making plays over and over, and we got to make plays too, but we weren't really doing that on either side of the ball, so obviously they kept the momentum.
I mean, obviously we had a bunch of mistakes. Receivers, running backs, quarterback, line, we all had mistakes, right? But I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. That team is really good. Their defense is really good. That front seven is probably the best in the nation, and you got to play clean football to beat those guys.
BYU football, like, there's something we're building here, right? And we'll be back at the Big 12 championship. This is the last time. You know, we're just building, and we got something going, and everyone can feel it.
Again, the hope is that this is the first of many, as Chase was just alluding to. But Blaine, simply, what went wrong for BYU against Texas Tech?
Well, the first thing we've got to acknowledge is that Texas Tech is part of what went wrong with BYU. This is an elite defense. Arguably the best defense in the country, certainly the best run defense in the country. That front seven is not just a good defensive line. It's a linebacker core, I think, is the best linebacking core in the country. And BYU's is pretty elite. as well. But this group as a front seven is unmatched in college football. And then, BYU had a great first drive. Bear gets banged up a little bit, never seemed to be the same, wasn't as mobile, and the offense just bogged down from that point forward. That first drive was a thing of beauty. They mixed the throw with Bear running the football and with LJ running the football, and they had that defense on their heels a little bit. But once Bear got banged up, it limited his ability to run around, to move him in the pocket, do things differently, and he just seemed like he was a little bit rattled after that. And we saw what a freshman quarterback can look like when they're a little bit rattled, when he's not got all of his physical capabilities going. And yet the defense still allowed BYU to stay in this thing. And as you mentioned, with under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, with the football, they're a touchdown and an extra point from going ahead. And then the wheels fell off. And it was just too many turnovers to be able to recover from. And it's not just the turnovers. It's the position on the field that you turn the ball over that can have a major impact. We call them terminal turnovers when you turn them all over in your own red zone, or they immediately result in a score. And there was a period there in that fourth quarter where Texas Tech scored 10 points. Boom, boom, 10 points on 9 yards of total offense. They had a one-play, 11-yard touchdown. And then they got the ball after a turnover, went 2 yards backward,
kicked the field goal.
Yeah. So 10 points, bam, bam, in a very short period of time on 9 yards of total offense. And when those things start to happen, you hope you can gather yourself back up. But sometimes when the wheels come off, they really come off. And sometimes turnovers can be contagious. And a great defense, when they feel you on your heels, they get more aggressive, they get after it, they force more turnovers, and it just became a turnover debacle for BYU in that fourth quarter, and BYU just could not recover from that. And to the point where we're just watching LJ Martin, who's never fumbled in his entire career at BYU, adds to the turnovers.
It happens against Texas Tech. To their credit, punching the ball out.
I've never seen anything like it. In college football, not from BYU, but that number of 4 turnovers, all in
19 minutes of game time.
In that quick a period of time. And when you look at it, this is BYU's offense against everybody else in their schedule versus the 2 games against Texas Tech. 36.5 points a game for 11 games. 7 points a game against this team. 428 plus yards of offense, average. 227 against Texas Tech. And the big thing is rushing yardage. And it is, I really believe, the best, not just statistically, but the best run defense in the country this year. And that's what caused BYU such problems, only averaging 3.7 yards to play. They couldn't get ahead of the chains in the game offensively. And so, hey, let's give credit where credit's due. Texas Tech is really good, but they're not that much better than BYU. 4 turnovers, and they forced those turnovers. But this is just so uncharacteristic of BYU and came in such an avalanche form that they just could not recover from this. And terrible positions on the field. Inside the 20, inside the 10, inside the 30. Even the fake punt gave a short field to this football team.
The worst average starting field position differential in the Sitake era before Saturday was against Texas Tech in Lubbock.
Right.
BYU was minus 18 there in Lubbock in average starting field position, minus 18 yards, okay? Then Saturday happened with the 4 terminal turnovers you're talking about. And I said 4 in the final 19 minutes of the game, which is true, but really they occurred in about 14 or 15 minutes of game time. It was unbelievable. That resulted in an average starting field position of 25 yards positive for Texas Tech compared to BYU. 25 yards better than BYU for the game because of those critical turnovers by BYU. So what went wrong? Yeah, Texas Tech's defense, first and foremost, as you just chronicled, Blaine, is absolutely legitimate. I put them right up there with Ohio State and Indiana. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely. Defensively, there's good. And the other thing is, people forget this is a top 10 offense as well. They're top 5 in scoring off. This is a very balanced team without a weakness, but they're especially good on defense. And terminal turnovers just aren't going to help you. And if you add the 4 turnovers with 2 turnovers on downs in your own territory, it's the equivalent of 6 turnovers. If Texas Tech plays Ohio State, and Ohio State turns the ball over 4 times in their own territory, as deep as they did, Texas Tech will whip them as bad as they whip BYU. And that's saying a lot, because Ohio State is a fabulous football team. But that's how much turnovers make a difference in a football game. And they would absolutely obliterate Ohio State, Indiana, Georgia if they turn the ball over like BYU did. Now, I don't think Georgia, Ohio State, and Indiana are going to turn the ball over like that if they face Texas Tech. They'll take care of the football better. So that's on BYU for not taking care of the football. But that's why the huge disparity in score.
The injury to Bear, while downplayed by Bear and his teammates and coach, I think it is significant. He clearly was a different player. You need your guys healthy. You need your most important player 100% healthy to have any shot against a team that is of the caliber of Texas Tech. And I want to point this out before we move on. Everybody remember what BYU Kansas State looked like in 2024?
Yeah.
BYU just experienced what Kansas State was experiencing at LaVell Edwards Stadium in that 8-minute span, where Kansas State could do nothing right, and BYU's defense went gangbusters and just kept turning them over, and in critical scenarios and positions on the field, and BYU's offense immediately just turned those into points. That's how a game goes from you're down 6-3 to winning 38-9. Yeah. It was the reverse of that.
When the wheels fall off, they all fell off at the same time, and it was grounded.
Yes.
So I'll say, we'll end it with this. When Chase Roberts, who was not healthy in that, said, I can't even talk about it because Bear was playing on one leg. That's all we needed to know about Bear's injury, is playing on one leg. Well, as mentioned, BYU misses out on the college football playoff by 2 spots, dropping to number 12. They had to be in the top 10 in that final college football playoff ranking. After the loss to Texas Tech, Spencer spoke with BYU players who made their case as to why BYU is a playoff caliber football team.
I mean, we have 2 losses to a top 5 team in the country. Got to give a lot of credit to Texas Tech. They're a great football team.
Give us a shot, and we'll prove that we can play with any team out there.
I feel like we do have a very strong resume. I think we're a playoff caliber team, and would love the opportunity, if it's granted to us, to go prove that.
To be an 11-1 in a Power 4 conference and to not be in the playoff, even it's honestly ridiculous. And what's the point of going 11-1 and playing all these tough teams? What's the point of going to a Big 12 championship if it's going to hurt our college football playoff chances?
So not only did BYU get snubbed by the College Football Playoff Committee, they got a second punch in the gut when Notre Dame opted out of playing them in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, where you could have had the first two teams out of the College Football Playoff face each other in what would have been a game of huge national interest. And a lot of those teams to prove one or the other, we should have been in there. They opt out. What do you make of that, Spencer?
Boy, this is only an hour-long show. We need probably 4 hours to discuss everything there. But in the spirit of summarizing things, I'm really, really frustrated that both BYU and Notre Dame don't have an opportunity to go out and potentially show the country that both of those teams potentially belong in the playoff. And there's been so much talk around the two and comparing resumes, those two specifically. The idea of finally being able to settle that on the field it made me feel okay-ish after a lot of disappointment and seeing how disappointed the BYU coaches and players were after the game. Like, okay, you want to call it a consolation prize, the opportunity to play Notre Dame in a meaningful bowl game and let both sides just have at it and the build-up, and then you get to prove it on the field. I loved that idea. So when Notre Dame opted out, yeah, as you said, another gut punch. Just why? My question was why? And oh boy, I put that question out there on social media, and I think I had 400 responses, many from people who are not even related to BYU or Notre Dame, and then certainly from both fan bases. But Blaine, it just feels like Notre Dame was so set on sticking it to the man of ESPN and saying, well, you're not going to profit off of our logo and off of our brand, and we're going to teach you a lesson. We're going to show the college football world that we don't agree with this, and we're going to make changes, But I think about their seniors. Their last game, you're playing Stanford, you think you're going to be in a college football playoff, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, guys, sorry, you're done.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, what?
That is because they clearly thought they had another game. And the College Football Playoff Committee sent a terrible message to them for weeks before that they were ahead of Miami.
Absolutely.
So it was, we don't have a game. We're already in.
I understand why Notre Dame is upset. Don't get me wrong. You and I, we clearly understand that was
if I was Notre Dame, I would
falsifying
I would be livid if I was Notre Dame. That all of a sudden it just changed on the last day. And when you look at the resume comparisons, BYU, like Notre Dame over Miami, clearly. BYU over all three of these teams, really, right? But clearly over Notre Dame and Miami. But if I'm Notre Dame, just because of the message that was sent with BYU, we expected that if they didn't win, they wouldn't be in, because the College Football Playoff Committee made it clear, not accurately in my opinion, that BYU wasn't going to be in there because they had them outside of the 10 going into the college.
They basically said, BYU, you have to win the conference championship game if you want to get in.
By where they placed them before. Now, there's where I think they should have been ranked much higher all season long. I don't think they should have taken as big a tumble when they lost to Texas Tech.
Correct.
Early in the season.
They got super punished for that.
If they're in the right spot, then there would have been an expectation. I had no expectation other than them winning. Even in the close one, I don't think they would have been in. Notre Dame had every expectation they would be in, because that's the message the College Football Playoff Committee sent. So I'm with them. I'd be livid. But you know what I wouldn't do? I wouldn't take my seniors who thought they had another game to play in the navy and gold, or whatever color that's, dark blue, but in their colors with their teammates one more time. They don't get a chance to. You're going to miss out on a couple weeks of practice to help the younger guys get better. There's development that happens. I think it, for Notre Dame, probably doesn't hurt recruiting, because they're just such a national brand. It probably doesn't hurt their recruiting. But I do think it's not taking advantage of what postseason play gives you for a program to be together longer, to create culture for next year, to bring momentum into next year. All of those things you leave to send a message. And believe me, my message needs to be sent. But there's enough chaos out there that I think everyone's hearing about it. And I do think we'll see some change in the future. It can't keep going like this. This was the most controversial that I can remember.
Oh, man. And I know there's this idea out there floating that, well, what if BYU had played Texas Tech to a one-score game? Like, it was a dramatic finish, and Texas Tech needed to score a late touchdown to win by 7 or kick a late field goal to win by 3. Then maybe that would have changed the committee's mind. No. I'm telling you, they made it clear that there was no way outside of beating Texas Tech for BYU to move up. Alabama could have lost 52-0 in the SEC championship game, but because they were moved up to number 9 the week before, the worst that would happen to Alabama is you get dropped to number 10. But BYU was not going to jump Alabama regardless of how close the game was with Texas Tech. I hate that, but that was the reality.
Their only pathway in was win.
Beat Texas Tech.
Which isn't fair in that league. Now, Texas Tech needs to do everybody a favor in the Big 12 and go out and just beat the heck out of everybody.
Dominate.
And go win a national championship. And BYU needs to win their bowl game. And they need to look good in postseason, so that next year they go, oh, man, defending national champs are from this league. We got to quit disparaging this league. So a lot on Texas Tech. They're carrying the banner of the entire Big 12 into this playoff.
So a lot of rhetoric happened as we transition into our next topic about what Notre Dame opting out means for the current edition of college football and the bowl system. And there's this idea that Notre Dame has started the wave. Like, oh, Notre Dame just ended college football and the bowl system as we know it. Bowl games are going away. It's all going away. I am inclined to believe that as powerful as Notre Dame thinks that they are, Blaine, this all comes down to the Southeastern Conference and not getting Texas and Vanderbilt in and Greg Sankey. That carries more weight. Combined with Notre Dame, sure, but I think that the SEC is driving that conversation more than anybody else across the country.
16-team playoff, that's what we need.
Expand the playoff and stop the freaking college football playoff ranking show. Do one reveal, selection Sunday.
Just like NCAA
just like basketball. Stop it.
Amen.
Stop it.
Amen.
As previously mentioned, BYU and number 22 Georgia Tech in the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Another Pop-Tart toast to all of you. Head coach Kalani Sitake spoke yesterday about the opportunity to face the Yellow Jackets in sunny Orlando.
Georgia Tech, I see a lot of things in their program that's very similar to ours. I know that they are tough and they play really hard and they're not afraid to run their quarterback as well. Well-balanced team, I think well-coached, and you look at what they do fundamentally well. There's everything. And so I'm looking forward to the matchup, and we know it's going to require us being at our best, and just looking forward to the opportunity to play again with these seniors and to play again as a team.
Blaine, is this bowl game the best case scenario for BYU after missing out on the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, the Alamo Bowl and Pop-Tarts Bowl were the two, and they already played in the Alamo Bowl, so I think the players like to have a different opportunity. They get to play really a team that, when they had a healthy quarterback, was one of the best teams in the country.
And they'll be motivated,
Top
Georgia
10 team.
Tech.
Absolutely. Haynes Kirk, their quarterback, is a phenomenal player. He is dangerous. One of the best, he is the best dual threat quarterback in the country. So BYU's got their hands full. Their defense not quite as stout as what they've faced in the Big 12 with a couple of teams like Arizona and Texas Tech. But this is a very solid football team. I think it's a good opportunity for BYU to go out on a high here.
Yes, I'm in favor of BYU getting to this game. We all would have loved it to be Notre Dame, obviously. I'm glad that it's not Virginia or Duke or Pitt. I still think that there's a ranked matchup here that has a lot to break down, and it's a unique team, so I do like that. We all wanted Notre Dame. Georgia Tech is a really good opponent, and all things considered, I like this bowl game and matchup for BYU.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great bowl, and it'll be fun for the players.